Welcome to Tuesday Tea Time on Thursday this week. I'm home after 8 weeks of traveling around Europe and teaching. I'm home. It feels really good to be home. I think I slept about 13 hours last night. I'm just walking out to the field where Atlas and Ari are, and I have tea because it's tea time. My brain's a little slow, if I'm honest. I feel like I'm just winding down a little bit after a lot of thought over the last 2 months. And I'm going to turn around here so you can see my boys. There's Atlas and Ari. So it's interesting. I got home last night and I really had a sense that they were happy to see me, but nobody's really touched them in 2 months. And I realized that so much of human interaction with animals is this desire to touch them. And a lot of horses really like that. They want to be touched. But if you can see here, it's a little bit foggy and rainy here. And I find that when the weather is a little bit wetter, the horses don't really want to be as touched as much. And this is an interesting dilemma for us humans because we all want to do a lot of touching. We like doing a lot of touching. And so as I spend time with Ari and Atlas, given that they haven't seen me in 2 months and they haven't really been touched by anybody since I was here last, that maybe I don't have to touch them right away. Maybe I can just exist in the space around them and show them that I'm listening to them, that I'm interested, that I share interest in the things that they're interested in. And maybe that's enough. Or maybe that's the best place to start. I don't even know if I have to say maybe. I think it is. That we can have a physical relationship with the horses without always having to touch them. Now, touch is valuable, and they do touch each other. There's a lot of mutual grooming and things like that. Even with the 2 stallions between the fence, they do touch each other. And I certainly will touch them. But maybe it doesn't have to be the first day. Maybe it doesn't have to be every day. How often do we show up to spend time with the horses and say, how would you like to be my friend? And how much does their preference matter? I find a lot of times that humans walk into a horse's space like the human desire is the only or most important thing. Now, as I get a little bit closer here, you could see Atlas turn his tail to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just drift away a little bit. I have a feeling he and Ari are about to have a little bit of a talk, as they do through the fence. And I'm not necessarily invited into that conversation. They've been each other's companion for the last 2 months. And while, I have great people coming to check on them every day and make sure their food and their water is full, they don't have a lot of need for me, and that has to be okay. It's one of the biggest things I ran into in my clinics. Everywhere I went is people would say, but I feel like the horse is ignoring me. And I would say, that's okay. It is okay for them to ignore you in the beginning. And I'm not just talking about the beginning of the relationship. I'm talking about the beginning of every day. Maybe at the beginning of the day, it's okay if they don't notice you because they're busy with their life that is full and it's good and it's interesting. So we can see the boys playing a little bit behind me. And I'm really happy to see them playing. I really love that they're interacting. And then I love that they can stop for a moment and check in with me. That's a good thing. But it doesn't have to be all about me. It is about me coming into their space and being part of what they're doing or a witness to what they're doing or being some addition to their life. But it doesn't mean that I have to interrupt it or change it directly. It means that I'm going to work my way into their space around them in a way that's tactful, in a way that's kind, in a way that's harmonious. And there will be an appropriate time when touching feels really good between me and them. So I came a little bit closer here. There's my boys. And you could see that Atlas backed off a little bit. So when he looks at me, I might step away just because I want him to see that I saw that his feet moved away from me. And so the next time he's interested or curious, I'm going to show him what I observed. If I mimic him, it doesn't have to be exactly in the same moment that he does things. Maybe it's a moment afterwards, but I want to show him that I'm listening and that I'm paying attention. And maybe we don't have to do touching right away. Maybe I take some time and I work at all the other distances and work my way back into my horse's confidence without having to demand it in the first moment. You know, if I think about it, that's how I would like others to approach me. Hi, Atlas. I want them to know that there's preferences both sides. So the human has a preference, but the horse also has a preference. Now, Atlas walked towards me, and I was definitely the follower there. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to step towards him. That puts us on an equal footing. I don't have to do it at the same moment. He takes a step towards me. I'm going to take a step towards him. And then as that ear flicks at me, I know that that was sort of reasonable. It was okay. And he's trying to decide, what does he do now? Does he want to get closer? Does he not want to get closer? And I want to know his preference. When he's interested or curious, with a lot of horses, I'll change position frequently because I'm likely to overstay my welcome. With Atlas, he's a little bit more comfortable with passive than he is with supportive. So I know I'm not likely to overstay my welcome as long as I'm not touching. And so I'm more likely to work up and down and just be a little bit more patient and wait. Ari's back. Feels good to be home with my boys. So those are my thoughts. You know, touching is something we really like to do with horses, and it's very, very important that horses learn to enjoy it. I think it's a very vital part of training horses, and I do a lot of touch, but it isn't necessarily the first thing we do. So Atlas is going to come over and say hi. Hi, buddy. Yeah. And then as he put his head down, I'm going to go ahead and step to the right, just to show him that I see that, you know, he was pulling away from me with his head there as he pulled it down and out, and I'm going to go ahead and pull away from him. As he looks with me with curiosity, I might change my position down low. And it's not that he never gets to be the leader. Sometimes he'll take a step towards me and I just am going to be the follower, let him change the distance. But then I will go ahead and move a little bit also in the direction that seems the best for our relationship so that he knows that I'm listening. Oh, buddy. This is a horse that takes a lot of time. For those of you on my clinic tour that heard me talk about attachment styles, he's very disorganized. He doesn't know if he wants me closer or farther away. So in these moments that he trusts me to come a little bit closer, they're very precious. They're very important. And in the moments that he starts to sort of look out the other direction, I might go ahead and step out away from him. Hi. Yeah. That's my boy. And if I can show him that I understand him, then he's more likely to become more and more secure. And as he becomes more secure, then we can really start to push the boundaries of what's comfortable. And we can start to work on more touch, because I am human. And I really do like the feel of horse fur in my fingers. Huh. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be the first day that I'm back from an 8-week trip. Maybe it's the second day. Whatever it is, we're going to take it a step at a time. And I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a moment here at tea time with Atlas. And Ari has just laid down for a nap. So that's how Ari feels about tea time. It is nap time now. And I have to say that I feel honored by Ari feeling that safe and that comfortable to say, Elsa's here, she's hanging out with us, she's watching out for us, and I can just lie down and take a nap. To me, that might be more precious than me running my hands all over him and touching him. So I guess today's tea time is really about, asking everyone to think your actions around the horses have a lot of impact, even if you do not touch them. And if you can really think about, when do I move? When do I stand still? When do I crouch down? When do I stand up? It puts them in a mind state where they feel very safe. And when they feel very safe, you're going to see a lot less fight or flight. And as I always say, if you had a relationship where your horse never pushed into you, never ran away from you, and never ignored you, how much training would you have to do? Or how easy would the training be when you did train? So I'm home. I've been home for less than a day. And I'm going to spend some time with my horses today, being with them in ways that they appreciate. And hopefully we'll build up to the touching distance that I really like. But it's not a given. It might happen today, or it might happen tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. So I'm going to say goodbye to you here and continue to spend some time with my boys as they sleep on this beautiful rainy day. And maybe we'll get to the touching distance, and maybe we won't. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, or evening. And I'll talk to you next week, hopefully on Tuesday next week. Huh, Atlas? Yeah. Ari's sound asleep.